everybody, today I'm going to be making this delicious red velvet cake. It is so delicious, everybody's going to love it. It's a great dessert to make around Valentine's Day, Christmas, or any other time of the year. The recipe will be at the beginning of the video. You can just take a snapshot, sit back and enjoy watching me make the video. I'll also tell you the ingredients as we go along. I will frost it with a cream cheese frosting and top it or garnish it with a few pecans. So let's get busy and come with me as we make this delicious red velvet cake. For our cake, you'll want to do some prep work before you start mixing all of your ingredients together. Today I'm using 3 9-inch round cake pans. I have lined these with parchment paper rounds and I cut these myself, and I've greased the sides of the pan. So I'm going to set those aside. Next, I mixed my dry ingredients. Remember, I'm using cake flour today, and I used 3 cups of cake flour. I sifted it and then I measured it. And then I added a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. And I put it all together back in my sifter, and I sifted it together and set that aside. So now we're ready to start mixing our ingredients. I'm using 1 stick of unsalted butter. To that, I'm adding 2 cups of white granulated sugar. You can use your electric hand mixer, or you can use your stand mixer, whichever you prefer. I'm going to mix this using the paddle attachment until it's creamy, and I like to beat mine about 8 to 10 minutes. And when it gets creamy, it will begin to change color, and you can see that. And then I'll come back and we'll add our other ingredients. Our butter and sugar is now creamy, and we're going to start adding some liquid ingredients. The first thing that I'm going to add is 1 cup of vegetable oil. Now you could use canola oil if you wanted to, but I'm using vegetable oil. So we're just mixing that around. And to that, I'm going to add 4 egg yolks. I separated the egg yolks from the whites, and I'm going to beat the egg whites until they're stiff, and then we'll add those just before we pour our batter into our pans. That one doesn't want to come out, and the reason that it doesn't want to come out is because I separated these a few minutes ago to have it ready for you. That was another one of the prep things that I like to do, is to go ahead and have everything ready. Now let's add our vanilla. I'm using 3 teaspoons of vanilla today in my red velvet cake. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And to that, and this is really, really important that you use this ingredient, I'm using 1 teaspoon of distilled white vinegar. 1 teaspoon. We'll add that. I'm going to turn this on high and beat it for 2 minutes, and I'll be back. Now we're ready to add our dry ingredients alternately with our buttermilk. So I'm going to start with some flour, and I'm mixing this on a low speed so it doesn't jump out of the bowl. And my buttermilk I've let sit out and come to room temperature. So we'll add a little bit of buttermilk and a little bit of flour at the time. Once I get all of this mixed together, then I'll come back and we'll add the remainder of our ingredients. Now we're ready to add our red food coloring. This is food coloring that I purchased at Miss Merck's in Cairo. It is one that Debbie told me that all of the big bakers use, those who make lots and lots of red velvet cakes. So I chose the liquid, and I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of red food coloring. You need to be really careful when you're using red food coloring because it can get everywhere. So I'm just adding that to our batter, and I'm going to let that mix around for a little while and incorporate it really well. And then I'll come back, we'll add our beaten egg whites, put it in our pans, and we'll be ready to go. So now we're ready to add our beaten egg whites to our cake batter. I slipped on some gloves because all of you know who have worked with food colorings that it can stain your hands and just be a mess and get everywhere. So I've added our egg whites to our cake, and I'm just folding it in. You remember the process of folding. It's down, over and under, down, over and under, down, over and under. So I'm going to finish folding this in. I'll divide the cake batter evenly into my 3 cake pans. I'm going to place it in the oven, cook it for 30 minutes. Of course, I'll be checking it. I have a glass door on my oven, and I can see. So I'll be checking it, and I'll let you know exactly how long it bakes. So I'll be back when our cakes are done. We're now ready to frost our cake, and I went ahead and mixed up our cream cheese frosting. I have 1 stick of butter, 8 ounces of cream cheese. I blended that real well together with my electric mixer, and then I added 4 cups of powdered sugar. Also, I added 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So let's do this. We're just going to put a little bit of icing on top, and yum, this is already looking delicious. Just that first dab that I have put on here. And I have a little turntable that I like to use when I'm frosting my cakes. I'm going to stack the cake layers. I have 3 beautiful cake layers that I made, and I'll ice the top of each layer, and then I'll stack the next layer. I'll ice the sides of it, frost the sides of it, and I'm also going to put some pecans, some chopped pecans on top of each layer. We like pecans on our red velvet cake. So now I have the first layer that has icing on it, just like that. And I'm just going to add a few chopped pecans, not many, just a few, to give it a little extra crunch and a little extra flavor. I think that probably is enough right there. And now I'm going to add our second cake layer. I like to cool mine on little racks like this, and then I'm going to place it upside down on top of the layer. I'll continue frosting. When I get finished, I'll be back. Okay, it's time to cut our cake, and what I'm going to do is to cut a wedge out of the cake so that you can see the layers. If I cut just one piece, you're not going to be able to see it really well, and I want you to see it really well. So anyway, I'm just going to cut it like this, and then I'm going to cut a pretty big wedge out of it. Now, I will not be eating this big wedge. I can just tell you that. And so I'm just going to lift it out. Oh my goodness. I think it's a winner. So I'll just place this right there, and we'll look at it together. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I'm so proud of that. Look at that. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. I hope you'll try a red velvet cake. I love you, and I'll see you again really, really soon.